right, Founder Jam number 10. We are live, ready to go here. Welcome to our 10th edition of Founder Jam. It's amazing that we're at this point already. We are 3 o'clock now on Wednesdays. Thank you for making the switch from Fridays. We used to do Fridays at 2 here on the East Coast, but now we are Wednesdays at 3. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic of the day, communication. And we're going to talk about what it's like to communicate with your team at work, the people that you work with, people that you work for, and the people that work for you. Because communication is key to success in any kind of relationship, but especially in business. So we've had a couple guests in the past talk about performance. We talked about hard work last week with E-Money, Eric Harrison. That was a great conversation. But what I realized is that every single one of those things that we've talked about has to be communicated clearly. Extremely important to make sure you communicate well with the people that you work with, whether you're trying to motivate them, whether you're trying to educate them, or whether you're just trying to get the work done that you need to get done every day. And we all know that being a founder takes some time. It takes some time to grow. It takes time to learn your skills. And communication is one of those skills that is not just given. You have to practice it. Just like anything, you have to work out. You got to work out the kinks in your communication skills so that when your team comes on, whether it's you start off just by yourself and you're a solopreneur, or if you start with 5 people, 6 people, or your business is growing and scaling, and now you have multiple people on your team. And these days with technology, communication should, in theory, be much easier, right? Because we can talk to thousands, millions of people at once. I mean, we're on a stream right now. Anyone, entrepreneurs across the world are watching or listening, hopefully. But what about person-to-person communication? Good old school communication that includes some kind of relationship and not just a message, not just a text message, and not an emoji. And if you know me, you know I love emojis. Emojis are one of my favorite things to shoot out there. It's efficient, it's a little bit easier, and sometimes they can be pretty funny. But sometimes they don't quite get the message across. And that one-to-one communication is extremely, extremely important. So make sure that you get your emoji game high, but also your personal communication skills, even if it's over a Zoom. What's the body language like? How important is that? Do you match the person on the other side of the table of you, or do you do what's the opposite of them? There's psychological studies on this, and we're going to dive into some of these things today. I appreciate you coming on the show. We're going to get Joe on here pretty quickly, and it will be a great time here on Founder Jam number 10. We are deep. We're halfway through the 3rd month of Founder Jam, and we're being successful with it. We appreciate the support for everyone coming out. We're going to jump right into our questions here as soon as Joe gets on the platform. So as a reminder, if you're backstage on the Instagram, you want to jump over to one of the other platforms here so you can pick up the live broadcast and actually participate in what we're doing. You can participate in the Twitter chat just by being on Twitter, or you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to Periscope Twitter, you can go to Facebook, any one of those, and you can jump on the broadcast YouTube and watch it right there. And that's the best place to do it, so you can participate in what we have going on. Okay, Joe, get on the program here. It'll be happening in just a minute. I think another thing that I wanted to mention, when we're doing these Founder Jams, it's really, really important that we figure out a way to communicate our message of positivity and support in the community of founders. And even if we have 1,000 people watching the show, if we're not communicating that message across other platforms, we can't really reach the amount of founders that we want to reach. We want to make sure as many people as possible are here to support each other, because you never know. In fact, the other day I had a conversation with someone. It was a LinkedIn connection. I didn't think there would be anything of it. But before you know it, we hit it off, and now we have some potential business opportunities. So you just never know who needs to hear a good message. All right. Founder Jam number 10. Ladies and gentlemen, we are good to go for communication as our first topic. So I want you to think about the things that are important to you in communication. What are the ways that you speak and communicate with the people that you work with? And I'm sure that will help you answer some of these questions here that we have coming up. And they're a little bit more personal this week. In the past, we've talked about concepts and ways that you can affect other people. But today, even though we're talking about communicating with others, we really wanted to dive into what's most important to you and how you act and what your skills are. And it's going to take a little bit of humility as well. I know for me, as someone who studied communications extensively, it could be something that would be challenging for me at times because I just assume other people communicate like I do. And speaking of other people, Joseph J. Nolan, there you are, bro. What's up, man? Welcome to the show.
All right, Bob. Good to see you again this week, man. Great to be with everyone, man. It's been an exciting week and ready for Founder Jam 10, I believe it is.
10, man. Yes, it is 10. It is number 10. I can't believe it, but here we are. So we're talking about communication this week. I was just giving my little monologue about how important communication is and how this week we're really concentrating on the founder, his or herself. We really want to dive into what your skills are and how important that is. So it's going to take a little bit of humility this week with some of these questions. I don't know if you're ready to be open and honest and candid with the crowd.
I am. Yeah, I don't know if that was directed at me or the couple hundred people watching. I am, and we'll be open, honest, and direct. So here we go. Yeah, I'm ready, guys. I'm ready.
All right, let's throw out the first question. Let's get this thing rolling here.
Let's do it. All right, question number one is out.
How good are you at communication on a scale of 1 to 10? How good are you at communication?
Bob wasn't lying when he was saying we're coming right at you today.
We're throwing it right at you.
Full
How
go.
good are you at communication?
All right, so this one's on me, right? I would say I want to go with 8 or 9. I want to go with 8 or 9, and why do I say that? I think you mentioned in the monologue that we've both studied communications quite a bit, and there's each person has kind of their individual style with it. So I think probably 1 to 10 we may be above the average because we have a lot of training there, undergrad, graduate, communications industries. But I always think there's room for improvement. And so that probably leaves 2 points. That brings us down to about an 8 for 2 points on room for improvement. But I would also like to say real quick for everybody listening out there, this question is not meant to be whether people actually like or agree with what you're saying. This is more maybe of a technical prowess or a comfort level, a willingness to communicate. Because we all know sometimes you have to have hard conversations with people, with groups, etc. So I'll go with an 8. People may question an 8 for me, but say, why the heck are you a 10 after all that education? But I'll tread gingerly with an 8. How about yourself?
All right. Let me break it down for you. Okay. I would say when we're doing Founder Jam, I gotta say 10, right? Because at least I'm out here.
Oh man!
Am I getting the big head?
Oh man! We might have just killed the whole crowd. Everybody might have just clicked off on that one.
Everyone just signed off.
Click the like button if Bobby's rocking a 10 today. Click that button. Show him some love.
What do the kids say? Smash the like button.
Yeah.
Smash the like button. No, all right. So that's just a taste of my ego. But I'll say this. Maybe I'm dancing around the answer, but I think there's certain styles of communication that I just enjoy. That I don't know if I'm good at them, but I feel like I excel because I just like to do it. And there's other forms that I'm really, really not. And I think it's super important. And I've been working on this. Here's my plug for my book, but I've been working on this book, and I never thought I was a writer. I mean, I thought when I was younger, if I wasn't going to be playing sports, I was going to be in front of the camera talking about them for the rest of my life. And then when I studied broadcasting in grad school, I realized that I hated television. It was a little bit too scripted for me, and I wanted to do radio. So then I thought, oh, okay, I'll be behind the microphone, but not a camera. And that was good because my professor in grad school told me I have a face for radio. And so, and so I moved to that. And then more recently, I've had this incredible opportunity to put thoughts on paper. And I never thought I was a good writer. So I would say maybe I'm getting better because I'm just practicing and putting a lot of work into this book. But I'd say I'm a 3 or 4 when it comes to writing, and only because I bang out a lot of emails so I can, I know how to address people. I might even be less than that. Hopefully by the time I'm done with the process of the book, I'll be a better writer. But I'm a far better verbal communicator than I am writing. That I know for sure, just because of sheer practice. And you're going to laugh at this. My wife and I got married. We've been married 14 years almost. And it was like the second or third year of our marriage. And we figured out that she asked me to mail something. I can't remember I don't remember what it was, but she asked me to mail something, and I put a stamp on it. And I didn't even look at how much the stamp was. I just thought you just put a stamp on the stupid thing and you mail it. And it was nowhere near enough money for the package. So I'm terrible at snail mail as a form of communication as well.
I had no idea where you were going with that one, but you closed it up pretty good. That was funny. I think what's interesting is your answer was, I think, quite different from mine, which you were kind of viewing this in the totality of communication styles, and I went directly to kind of a verbal in front of the audience style, totally disregarding text message, email communications, formal writing like books or industry papers, things like that. I'll share one quick story on this. Is when I was at USC Annenberg School back in 2006, we're walking in the lobby one day, and there's a small group, 7 or 8 people, and they were from a bunch of different countries, like 3 or 4 from China, 2 or 3 from Europe, a couple Americans. People are translating, and we said, well, this is what are they studying? What is that all that about? And they were studying the interpersonal, the human factors involved with text messaging. And back then it cost money every time you send a text. You get 100 texts a month. And they surveyed our class in graduate school, like how many people think texting would take off and be a big deal. And admittedly, I said, man, there's no way. Calling is so much better. It's faster. And here I am probably with 10 text threads a day. And I know some people have 15, 20 text threads going a day. So anyway, apparently I missed the boat on that one. Texting took off. But there are so many types of communication. Bob, you make a great point about that it's important for founders to be proficient in as many as possible.
Yeah, to understand. I don't know about you, but I was a huge AOL Instant Messenger.
We're dating ourselves, We have a blend of like people our age and a bunch of millennials. We're this millennial audience today. I don't know if we're turning them off to this. They just probably think everybody just texts. What are these guys doing a broadcast?
Listen, when I had the fortunate ability to do some domestic travel when I was in high school on some different trips, actually, believe it or not, biking around some different states. And I don't know if I call them friends or acquaintances, people that I thought loved me, all over the country. And those late nights when in college, I would have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those AOL Instant Messenger threads up there where, when high-speed internet just became popular, so my computer could actually handle it. So things have changed.
Yeah, things have changed. No more message boards. Now it's Reddit, right? Yeah. The message boards come full circle.
Cool. Well, this is a good question, because I think it really shows the importance of kind of sticking with the times and being modern. And as people, industries, especially service and highly regulated industries, the text messaging is so valuable these days. It's a different animal. It's a lot easier to document an email, I think, than it is a text message. So you got to be careful, and you got to know how to do it. And how many people out there, if you go on LinkedIn and you search copywriter, there's a
Oh my goodness, it's
billion
booming.
people that are
Yeah,
supposed experts in copywriting emails and text messages and stuff.
yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out. We got a funny comment from a good friend of mine, Mike, who's actually a phenomenal communicator. He's also written a book as a brand marketer. 50 cents a text in 2004.
I did the same thing, Mike. Mike, let me tell you. And then the free minutes after 9 o'clock, I got a story about that someday to tell.
How many of us would send a text message back saying, "Stop texting me"? Then you got an "Okay, what are you doing later? Never mind, sorry." You know, you could kill $10 trying to stop the text conversation.
That's funny. Thanks, Mike, thanks for jumping in there, Mike. That was a great comment. So.
Oh man, cool. All right, question number 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Okay, right. And we are live. There we go. All right.
Bam. Question number 2. Have you received formal communications training? Ooh, we just went formal on them.
Well, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You kick this one off.
I was going to say, we were just talking about, I did study communications in graduate, undergraduate school too. I studied speech rhetoric. And so yes, to answer that question simply, yes.
Yeah, same here. So Bobby and I were in similar majors, undergrad, and then kind of went in different communication paths for graduate studies. And my graduate degree is in strategic communications, which is more so like campaign planning, but we did do a bunch of media training and Q&A training, that sort of thing as well. Mm-hmm. What I'm finding, Bobby, and we've worked, in my career, I've worked at big brands, but a lot of those were founder owned still, even, at $1 billion, it could be like Men's Warehouse, Beachbody. And now working with many startups a year, right? Our business does a lot of work with startups. And it's fascinating because you have many people who have their MBA or even a PhD, maybe in the sciences. And other than maybe one class in an MBA, maybe, there's no communications training. Yet they're expected to lead people. And there is some sort of like leadership training or seminars. But as far as being able to communicate effectively interpersonally in writing, I'm finding almost none of them have formal communications training. So if you're an entrepreneur looking for a career, communications training for executives could be something for you.
Yeah, that could be a good little niche there to train people in.
Yeah, because I'm finding a lot of them in different industries, they lack a comfort, and I think some of that comfort comes from just a lack of familiarity. They're just not familiar with doing it. And I mean, who's comfortable doing something they never have to do, like going live on camera, doing television interviews, like a Zoom broadcast with a local television station, in North Carolina or in Texas, or going live on Instagram. These are all things we've encountered. Mm-hmm. But a lot of senior professionals and founders, they're great at their job, but not necessarily one of the mechanics, which is communications.
Sounds to me like we need to get a communication expert on the show to kind of talk about some, key training points or just some initial things to think about if you're leading a business. That'd be a good conversation.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm putting it on the whiteboard, and we'll save that for next week.
Document that one. For sure. Excellent. So we had Mike jump in again real quick. I want to throw Mike's next comment up here. It's actually a good point, interesting point. But how do we identify barriers to entry as a user to those communication costs that we were talking about before? I don't know the answer to that, actually. I think it's something that the consumer or the end user has to evaluate what it is that they're actually looking for. I mean, what is the purpose? Is it just to send a message to a couple friends? Or is it, I need more, formal communication for business purposes? I think there's a big difference.
Yeah, and I think if Mike means around investment, I would encourage and challenge everyone out there who, if they're in a field where there is a lot of interpersonal activity and communications is important, take a class like, before the show, Bobby and I were jamming that we shared in one of our early episodes tons of resources around running a business and becoming a better individual and a better business person. And one of those was with Stanford. They have tons of resources on communication, body language, spoken language, writing. Invest in the 30 minutes for that. Those are free. Those are all free lessons.
Yeah, that's a good start. All right.
Cool.
Question number 2. I think we're in the books.
All right. Let's go to question number 3. Okay. And we are live on Twitter with it. Here we go.
Nice. Here we go. Question number 3. Do you feel comfortable going live on social media? No, I don't. No.
Okay. So wait. Hold on. You don't get off the hook that easily. This is very interesting, man. That response. I think you were joking, but this is a good point. Even if you're not comfortable, I think you do a fantastic job of faking it and pretending like you are really comfortable. And I'm sure they covered that even in Miami. They definitely did at USC, but like that's the mentality, right? Being able to switch those gears, focus, pretend, and try to overcome some of that anxiety, which I know you don't have that anxiety, man. Everybody should be following Bobby because he's posting some tremendous content every day all across the board. But okay, man, I didn't want to cut you off, but you do bring up a great point.
Well, put it this way. Just 100% full disclosure and honesty. No, I am definitely not afraid or uncomfortable of being the center of attention. I was an only child. I think my discomfort more lies in, is the message that I'm sharing being understood how I'm understanding it in my mind? And I think that's important because being a good communicator enables you to share your message in a way that other people as many people as possible can understand it. And it's never going to be everyone, but you want to be able to come at your points that you're making in different ways, illustrate them in different points, whether it's using visuals or just the way you're explaining it so that other people can understand it. And that goes for everything, whether it's a formal business conversation where you're talking about numbers and statistics and data for your company or sales information, or even if you're just at a party and you're in front of your friends and you're telling a joke, you might feel super comfortable being in front of everyone, whether it's because you had a couple too many or you just have no shame. But that doesn't actually matter. What matters is that you know how to share the message so that other people can understand it and your joke is funny. Or when you're in the business realm, that the metrics and things that you're sharing are illustrating a point that you're trying to make about the business. Yeah, no,
that's a great point. I think you in this, your headspace is gravitating toward the kind of the content of the message, the context. And I think I head in the same direction. My concern with going live is really, who cares? Why does someone care about what I have to say? And then making it the content, exactly to your point, worthwhile for someone to watch and spend 15 seconds, spend 20 seconds. And I kind of use the rule, I call it the BFD rule, the big freaking deal. So if I'm going to, or your business is going to push out content, and it doesn't pass the big deal, who cares? If it's not passing that threshold, then why are we investing in it, right? Then it's not being done the way it should be. And our expectations as communicators should be lowered. We should not expect great results from average or subpar communications, right? And content. And I think a lot of times there's a disconnect. To your very first point in the monologue, this is all about being self-aware and understanding. You might work 5 hours on one graphic for a social media post, and it still might not be good enough, right? And you have to be okay with, maybe it's sufficient, but it's not going to go viral.
Yeah. Well, I've heard this term thrown out a lot, and I don't know if this is off subject or not, but I've heard this, the minimum viable product.
Yes, MVP.
I totally understand the concept, but never really heard it formalized until I became a founder in this whole entrepreneurial business world. But what are your thoughts on mass communication from a branding and networking perspective for a business. Do you push out a consistent amount of content that's scheduled properly as long as it's minimally viable, or does everything need to be? And you might have already answered this with the BFD thing, but what are your thoughts on that, especially as someone in your field who has expertise in marketing and branding?
Yeah, this is a fantastic question. For me, my advice to brands of any size, businesses of any size, is your MVP. That bar has to be set super high, right? I think it's this idea of MVP comes from the tech world, right? Get the website live, get something live people can engage with, will learn and iterate very quickly on the product. That is fantastic on a whiteboard, right? In economics, ceteris paribus, of all other things being equal.
Wait, say that again.
It's economics, guys. I believe this I might catch some grief for this one, but I believe it's ceteris paribus, something like that. It means all other things being equal, but there never are, right? There never are all other things being equal. So the idea came from this way to iterate, get something out there, get engagement. What I argue and champion for brands is you invest so much time, and with us at paid media, financial investment, to making that experience for the customer world class. And if the product is not to a certain standard, that individual is less likely to engage with you, to buy from you, to want to communicate with from you. And now it becomes a poor experience. And there's all sorts of studies on poor experiences versus good experiences. Check out Net Promoter Score. That tends to be kind of an industry leading benchmark studies, right? So Google Net Promoter Scores, and you can see the considerable effects when MVP is too low. When the standard for the MVP is not where it should be, there's high brand risk, and that's how we coach our companies, whether it's a Series A startup, right, or $1 billion brands looking to IPO in 2022. Is you have to make the most of those moments. It's not a website, right? It's not a product that might have a bunch of features that the user doesn't know what they don't know, right? That's the other converse to this. So if the buttons aren't on the website, they don't know it. But if you're telling them something, that's very different than a physical product or a web product. I don't know. What's your feedback on that? Is that setting the bar too high, do you think? Is that too much?
I think it depends on the industry for sure, and also depends on what type of business you're trying to grow. And I don't want to criticize or fault any business owner who's not trying to have the best of the best, right? I mean, you can't not trying to have a high-end product. Sometimes you need something that's more affordable, and so it's just a different model. But when you're from a branding perspective, if you're looking to create this perfect, pristine brand and your presentation is impeccable, I don't know, as a consumer of things myself, I almost think it might be a little bit too much from a branding perspective. But I do understand what you're saying. You can't have something that just isn't really up to par, right? If it's just not quality enough, what you're telling me is what did you call it? You called it a brand, wasn't as bad as suicide, but brand
risk.
Brand risk. Okay. So if you take a brand risk and it does hurt you, it sounds to me like what you're saying is you may never be able to recover from that brand catastrophe or whatever it might be if something was that bad. And if you're a young organization, then I guess that makes sense. You couldn't recover. If Coca-Cola decides to change their logo and it's horrible for a couple of months and then they change it back, it probably hurts, but it's not going to take them under.
Right. Yeah. And it's about, I think it's a marriage between, right, the investment expectations, right? We're investing time, resources, et cetera, into satisfying that consumer's expectations at that moment in time for, those 100 people. And if it's not good enough, then those 100 people are less likely to invest in your business. So now you have to go find another 100 people, right? And try to do a better job next time. And that's where I think it's hard to recover, not necessarily at a macro scale, but more like that micro scale. And when you think about it, though, this micro scale these days, once you have a big brand, if it's on social media, that could be several hundred or several thousand people. If it's with paid media, it's tens of thousands of people instantly, in an hour. So I think it's important to keep that in mind too, is the scale of some of this should really encourage people to do the best that they can. Everybody's MVP is going to be different, but do the best that they can, put their best foot forward.
But I think the key is they should have an MVP.
Yes, but set the bar high, people. Set the bar high. We're gonna have to have Mark back on, right? We had E-Money show last week, right, where he's not saying vertical jump 30 inches, it's gotta be 36. And then if we hit 34, we're probably okay. But if everybody's doing 30, that's not enough to break through, right? So very quickly on this, we get asked all the time, make my content go viral. How do we make it go viral? They send you a formula from a blog. This is how you do it. And then you get content that's subpar. The image, the video, it's crummy, right? And so, but they put 10 hours into it and they say, make it go viral. Well, it doesn't work that way because your content is very much your MVP, but it's way down here, right? And your MVP needs to be up higher.
There's no way to hack a well-known brand is what you're saying. You got to actually have credibility. You got to actually.
Well, yeah, and think about it. Whether it's I'm sure you and I would both shop. We do tons of online shopping, and we don't always buy from only Amazon, only Walmart, or whatever, only Nike, Adidas. Why though do we buy from those brands? Over decades, they have been great at marketing, branding, communications.
Yeah,
and then we buy from other brands because. The products might be great, but they also do a fantastic job at that. So brands are great for a reason, and it's not just the product, but it's the communications, it's the branding, it's the experience.
Absolutely, that's good. That's great stuff. Cool, man. Let's transition on to number 4. Question number 4. We're rolling here. Founder Jam number 10.
All right, here we go. Question 4 is live on Twitter.
Double-digit Founder Jam. Question number 4. How critical to success is communications in your profession? So this is a little bit more broad. So how critical to success is communication? What do you think, man? I know for you, it's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah, for us, it's paramount, right? And I think a lot of times we deal with people in my profession on the paid media side are more quant based, right? So that's what they call them, the quant heads, things like that. So those are people dealing with the numbers, mathematics, analytics all day. But what separates them amongst themselves, everybody can run the same regression analysis. Everyone can run the same forecasting model. And quite honestly, everybody does to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. What separates them is the ability to communicate and translate both their work and others' work so that there can be a really proficient dialogue with stakeholders, whether it's an analyst talking to creatives about here's the 30 images that we spent $500,000 on, here's the winner and why, right? So you have an analyst speaking to a creative and their words are oil and water, but the good analysts are able to execute that part of their job very, very well.
Yeah.
That's just one example, right? That's kind of what we see. But in our industry, I would say it is critical to also communicate, wins and losses, like on a daily basis, right? Okay, today we had a good day with media. Tomorrow was better or worse. But providing context to the client, to your colleagues on why things are happening is absolutely paramount.
Providing context. I need to note that. I think we have an interesting situation in our industry. There's some new rules around communicating with. There's always new rules, but the way we communicate with people is highly regulated. And I think the service level communication is by far the most important, and it will always be, I think, when you're communicating with the people that you serve. It's very, very, very important that they understand, well, first of all, that you understand what's most important to them, and that they understand how you're trying to get them there. And so
Correct.
communication is, I mean, that's probably a top three most important thing of all the things we have to concentrate on in our business. And I guess you could say that for a lot of businesses. But what's changing most recently and what's different now is the way that we communicate our brand and our purpose to the masses. It used to not be about that at all. In fact, to some degree, it's for many people and organizations in our industry, it's not like it in the financial industry. It's still like that. It's still very grassroots, one-on-one, local, referral-based communications, which I don't think are bad. I just know that the way with technology and the ability to communicate on a mass scale and identify a little bit more about your niche and the people that you serve the best, you can do that now, right? And
That's right.
the people who are going to be able to do that, the organizations that are going to be able to do that, those are going to be the best off by far, because now you're setting up a brand, a purpose, a vision of your organization that other people can see and that other people can understand. Going back to what I was saying before about how important it is as a communicator to make sure that the people on the other side of you or that are listening to you understand what's going on. And so how important is communication to our industry? I think it's getting more important than it ever has been before, because now I can talk to 7 billion people, a trillion people in the world, right? Or 7 billion people on Earth, right? I don't actually want to talk to 7 billion people because I know that the vast majority of those people I will not be able to serve well, no matter how much experience or how many designations or how much studying I've done in the financial industry. But what I do want to do is I want to speak to maybe the 1 million or the 500,000 that I think fit our perfect client avatar. And communicating our message to those people is vitally important, because the other 6 million and 6.5 billion people, I want them to see our message, clearly understand it, and be able to say, you know what, they look like really nice people, but that's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But that way we don't have to waste each other's time, and they can go find what they need. The rest of the people, I want them to see what we're doing because we're communicating it so well, and bam, a light goes off in their head immediately within 10 seconds of visiting our website, or 10 seconds of talking to me, or reading a blog post written by my partner, Stacy, who writes a blog every Monday. We pop it out, and we're getting great response there because I think they're very targeted and very direct. So people know right away if it's a good fit or not, if they want to learn more. Either they don't.
You bring up a fantastic point. That's kind of in your lens, right? Is what
Mm-hmm.
is everything you just described. So for all the listeners, Bobby's talking about like this is how he wins. But the point, a bigger point to what Bobby is saying is it's a differentiator. Being good at this is a differentiator, and I think that is something you can take in many, many industries. I mean, you name it. If you are good at communicating, that helps you win more. Right. And be better at what you do and make others more comfortable and make it easier for you to do business, easier for, your environment in the workplace every day or with your clients. So that, I think, man, is a fantastic point about who is my audience. But at the same time, there's 100 other Bob DiPasquale's and Stacy's going after that same audience. How do we differentiate? And communications is huge. Not only the content, but the means, the method, and the execution of that content.
Mm-hmm. And if you can clearly share your purpose and mission behind your organization, you will attract amazing fans that care about what you're doing and want to be involved with what you're doing. And that's what you want. You would rather have 100 raving fans than 500 followers who just kind of think you're funny or kind of nice.
Yes. And this is what we encourage in all communications that we do, but we call it the 3 C's. It has to be crystal clear. We want to keep it concise, and we want to connect. And connect means building that connection with the reader, the viewer, but also then connecting them to where they want to go. Is it to our website? Is it to a partner website? Is it to a blog post? Is it to a sales page? Whatever it might be. If brands that do the 3 C's very well win more often. It's that simple, regardless of what type of content you're posting, regardless if it's financial services, fitness, wellness, we do work in home goods. It doesn't matter. Execute on the 3 C's and you will automatically be more, it's not automatic, you're putting in work, but you are virtually guaranteed to be better immediately with what you're doing. Ranking better in the algorithm, more engagement from users, more emails back from potential leads. So remember, 3 C's, clear, concise, connection.
Clear, concise, and connection. I got to work on the concise part.
Yes, but bro, you're already a 10 out of 10 on communications.
Yes, I'm a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm flawless. Let me tell you. I was talking about my wife earlier in the broadcast. She would not agree with flawless.
That should be another question. Does your significant other, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would they rank you?
Yeah. Does your partner, what does your partner think of your communication skills?
Describe them in 1 word.
And if the response is, I don't know, I haven't talked to them in 3 days, that's not a good answer. So I could tell you all, I could give you all kinds of stories. You know what we should do, honestly, Joe? We should have, so we got our Founder Jam at 3 p.m. Wednesdays. Thanks everyone for joining once again on all the different platforms. It's incredible to catch up. I just saw my buddy Kenny Bell just joined the behind the scenes Instagram live.
Kenny Bell, man.
KB, bro, man. It
back
is
in
good
the
to
day,
see
man.
you.
All right.
Well, I can't see you. It's good that you can see me. Appreciate you jumping on, man. You're the behind the scenes look right now at Founder Jam with me and Joe Nolan.
Wow.
If you want to catch the live, jump on the YouTube channel. You can interact with us, but that's cool, man. Blast from the past, Kenny Bell, man. Check out Kenny Bell, awesome. Sports training, the Madden man, awesome.
That's right. That's right.
Motion graphic actor, professional athlete. I mean, Kenny, man,
wow,
talented dude.
Tremendous, yeah. Great person.
So I got so excited when we saw Kenny. I lost my train of thought, but I think really to wrap up the communication thing, the best businesses, the best organizations have developed great relationships on all different levels. Great relationships within the organization, people that know how to communicate well, great relationships with the people that they're already serving, and then great relationships with the community that they want to serve at large. And in order to do that, you have to communicate well.
We could have just said that. You could have just said that, and that would have been enough
for
the whole broadcast. That could have been Founder Jam 10, 40 seconds.
Bam. Cool, man. Well, listen, it's been another great show. We're in double digits on Founder Jam 10. Appreciate people participating. Thanks, Mike, and everyone else for jumping on there. Mike and a couple other comments from COMSA, and it's been a great time here. Joe, we're supporting Girls Who Code again this week. So
that's right. Girls Who Code. Yep, we'll give them the shout out. We really want to do the social engagement and the tweet to unlock for them. Let's try to keep raising some funds for Girls Who Code. Tremendous organization, getting people back in the workforce post-COVID, getting women involved in technology. Just a tremendous group helping women nationwide. So if you're not familiar, like Bobby said, check out their website, learn about them, share it with a friend. If you can't contribute financially, give them a like, share it on your Instagram feed, share it on Facebook, and help spread the word. That's our philanthropy here for the last several weeks, heading in through May. And then, of course, which is becoming a fan favorite, is our $50 gift card giveaway for participation each week. And I'm rocking one of the cups right here. Shameless plug.
Sweet.
Shameless plug for them. But Coffee Motivation Company, they have some great products. And also the email list. Again, Bobby and I, we're not comped for this. We just think it's a cool brand. They're doing some really good work to help entrepreneurs and help you stay motivated. So all you got to do is participate, like, share, comment during our broadcast, and you're eligible each week. We pick a winner and email you the $50 gift card. So thanks again. We have a bunch of participation this week, which is really exciting to see. And everybody always hits us up after the broadcast. So I hope people join, but we don't mind you hitting us up after the broadcast. Don't stop doing that. It's always a blast hearing from everyone today and tomorrow. So thank you for all the support. Bobby and I really, really appreciate it, and we're glad to hear people are getting a lot of value out of what we're doing.
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of value too. It's just like doing the podcast and writing the book. Just by doing this stuff and talking to interesting people,
That's
whether
right.
it's Mark Lassini or Eric Harrison or Brad Wales or any of the people that we've talked to, I learned from them. And then, like you said, the engagement after the show's over, people give feedback.
Yeah.
I learned something. I learned from everyone.
Yeah. It's been great, and so people know, like, we know everyone's busy, right? So we've changed the time of Founder Jam, and we get any week a couple hundred to a couple thousand people watching the live broadcast. But I think people are sometimes a little shy to comment. And man, as soon as it ends, all the comments start. So don't be shy. Feel free to comment during the broadcast, but we love the comments after, and we love it. They
all come in right away. All right, y'all. Yeah. Well, excellent week. Thanks again. Founder Jam 11 next week is at 3 p.m. Once again, if you're catching us on the IG feed, please jump on to the live on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, LinkedIn. You can catch us there. We will see you in a week. Have a nice weekend, and support Girls Who Code this next as soon as we're out here. So, all right, y'all. Peace. Have a good one.
See ya.